Hello and good morning, everyone. At least that's morning for me. I'm back in Sydney after a couple of months traveling around the world to see you at some events. Hopefully, we met there. And if not, I'm very glad to have you here this morning. And it's been a couple of months also since I've presented at a DevDan. So the last one was about some robo agents, but I'm very excited about our presentation today. And I'll have another one next week. So super excited, super happy to be back. And thank you everyone for joining. And as always, I'm not alone here. So we have our amazing Ian who's joining us today.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Depends on where you are located. So nice to see you back, Katerina. I'm pretty excited on what your dev den have in store for us today.
Cool. Yeah, me too. This is actually a very, very popular topic. So I know that, a few people reached out to me in the past saying, "Hey, can you do this presentation? Like, we really want to know how this works." And yeah, hopefully, we are presenting it in a bit of a funny way as well. So let's see how it goes. But no
Yep,
spoilers
sounds
for
good.
now. Yeah, unless you follow me on LinkedIn and then maybe you have some spoilers already.
Okay, I know everyone is really excited on your session, Katerina. But before we proceed, I'd like to invite everyone to join Atlassian's current hackathon called Code Guys 2025 Atlassian Williams Racing Edition. Submissions are open until December 22, so you still have roughly 4 weeks, give or take, to create your app and submit. You can find the registration link in the chat below. I'm going to paste it now. Okay, there you go. So with that, I believe you have a co-presenter, Katerina.
Yes, we have Hannah today. So she is a software engineer. Hello, there she is. So she's a software engineer in the ecosystem team. So the way I usually say that is that, she builds Forge. So that's amazing to have her here. She knows a lot about the topic that we are going to present today. And yeah, sometimes I also call her my Forge princess because, I mean, who else do you know that has been presenting as many dev dance as Han?
Yep.
Oh,
I think she did way more than I did. So this is just my second, and I think she did 2, 3, 4. I lost count.
Yep. Welcome back, Han.
thank you so much, Ian and Katarina. And yeah, hello, I'm from the Forge UI team, and I'm so excited to present with you today, Katarina.
Exciting.
Okay. Should we go, Katerina?
Yeah, I think we are ready.
Okay. Ready.
So, what is our topic today? So, today we will be covering how you can enhance your Jira experience with Forge. And this title is very generic. So, let's go one level deeper and let's chat about what we will be showing. So, we will be showing some Forge powered visualizations. So, think about charts and all the use cases that might not be available out of the box, but that you want to bring in Jira. And we will also connect that with custom fields and how you can get your external data from some external systems and display and use them in your Jira custom fields. And as we said, so we have Han here. Hello. Also my Forge princess, it's on this slide, so it's official. And and hi, I don't know if you all know me. Sometimes I think you do, but in case you don't, I'm Katerina, and I'm part of the developer advocacy team. Shall we go? Let's do it. So, we want to be very upfront today and tell you what's our goal. So today we are going to be successful with this presentation if we inspire you to use external data in Jira for your custom fields and hopefully also to add some beautiful and powerful visualizations to Jira. So um, Why external data in Jira? You might be thinking, or maybe you actually already know, but let's talk about a couple of examples that we know are relevant for people. So the main reason why we want to have the main reason we've heard people are interested in getting their external data in Jira is so that they are able to see and interact with the data that they need, exactly where they need it and when they need it. And it's not just about displaying some data, it's actually interacting with it as well. So, and the main point, the main advantage for doing this is that there is no need to do any context switching. So we were talking about a couple of examples. So this is what we've heard from our customers. So maybe you want to show in Jira some test cases and some test results that are related to your Jira work items. Or another pretty common use case is showing some performance test data or reports, again, associated with a Jira work item or maybe with a support request. We've also heard that our customers might be interested to show some feature requirements. So think about all the info or maybe just the high-level one that are associated with a feature that is being built. And probably the most common use case are CRMs. So if you're thinking about account details, maybe company name, tier, recent engagement history, you might want to have that visible in your Jira work item directly. And usually at this stage, I like to ask, what about you? Like, is that it? Is there anything else that you would like to see in Jira? If there is anything, please let us know in the chat. So we always want to learn and hear from you what you would like to see and control from Jira. So you have a chat somewhere. So add your comments there. And I think, Ayan, now it might be a good time to check if there are any questions or any comments from our audience.
Katerina, so far, none yet. Although, wait, hang on. To answer your question, Katerina, so we have here
finance team data.
Mm.
Oh, finance
I
team
believe
data.
we have a lot of folks asking for this one. They want to merge it to Jira. So thank you for letting us know.
Yeah. That's I'm not sure if I've heard that already. Maybe Ian did from his comment, but yeah, that's a good one. I think it makes sense. So we will now go into our live demo. But before we do that, we have some resources for you here. So we wrote an article with all the links to all the Forge features and modules that we are showing today. So you can have a look at it by going to go.atlassian.com/cf-ui-viz. And there you also find the repository for the app that we are going to demonstrate. So if you want to have a look at the code, maybe now, maybe you want to follow along and check how this app works behind the scenes, you can do it right now, or this is going to be available for you after the streaming, so you can go back to that at any time. So it's now time to get into the demo. And, demos are always good and hopefully they always work, but yeah, we never know. So let's hope everything is going to work today. So fingers crossed. Let's go back into our demo. So what are we going to show you today? You might know that our company is somehow very much interested in F1 these days. So we thought to keep this example and this demo a bit funny by adding some F1 F1 fun to it. So what we did, we built something that might sound similar to a fantasy F1. So I'm not sure if if everyone here is familiar with the concept of fantasy leagues. For sure, I know that they are super popular in Italy. Like everyone kinds of play fantasy soccer. And what is fantasy soccer? What is a fantasy league? It's a game that you play with your friends where you are pretending to be the coach of a team or maybe the owner of a team. And by the end of the year, the ones who does the best is going to win a prize. So we built something similar with F1 using Jira. But before we go into that, we actually want to show you a very simple way that we built for building some external data into our custom field. So this is a game that we decided to play with our colleagues. So we asked a couple of our colleagues who are their favorite F1 drivers. So we created a project, a dedicated project for that, and let's have a look at this one, for example. So our colleague Lisa selected Kibi, but let's see how this works for if she wanted to, like when she went to set it up. So what we have in this field is a list of the F1 drivers, but this is not a static list. This is actually a list that is coming from the Open F1 APIs. So we are connecting to our external source and loading a list of drivers in here. This is kind of the simplest use case that you can have. You're just connecting to an external API and bringing your data inside your Jira as a list of options that you can select. And that's like the most simple use case and custom field that we are going to see today. So now that we've seen that, you might be thinking, oh, like, so I can bring in data just in my custom fields? And of course, the answer is no. So we have a dashboard here, and in this dashboard, we have a gadget, and this gadget is doing exactly the same that our custom field is doing. So our gadget is loading the external APIs and retrieving the list of drivers in here. And because it's a gadget, you might also want some configuration here. So the configuration is available, and it's also part of our Forge app and Forge logic. So from this configuration, I can show how many drivers to display. So previously we had all of them, so let's just limit this list to 5. And here we have the information loaded from our external APIs. Hannah, do you want to take it from here?
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Katerina. That was an amazing explanation of how to use Jira custom fields to vote for your top F1 driver. Now, what I would like to show you guys is how do we display that information that Katerina was showing us on our own gadget. So as Katerina has done, could we please load the favorite F1 drivers gadget at the middle?
Yep.
Thank you. So as you can see, this is a gadget that we've built together, and it doesn't need any configuration, so we can just go ahead and hit go. And what it's going to do is it's going to call all of those custom fields that Katerina has made, and it's going to display it all in a really lovely visualization here. And what I'd like to show you guys is it can actually update itself if we go and change any of the custom fields. So
Yeah.
if Katerina actually goes back, and if you'd like to choose a different F1 driver to be your favorite.
Oh, yeah. So this is like, let's change like what Lisa has selected, because I think she made a mistake, like Kimi is my favorite, so not her favorite. So, I mean, she must pick like Alex or Carlos. So let's go with Alex. Okay.
Awesome.
Yep.
Now, these gadgets will be able to make this call to Jira and update itself. And as you can see, now the pie chart has changed and there's an extra vote for Alexander. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you
Cool.
so much. I'm going to hand back to Katerina to talk about some more custom fields and more complicated use cases you guys can do.
Yeah. So let's go back to our idea of the fantasy F1. And here we will be seeing some more complex custom fields and some more complex logic that you can build into your custom fields. So this is where our colleagues are actually declaring their guess for each one of the races. So if we take, for example, myself for the upcoming GP, which is the Qatar one, we can see that we have two custom fields here. So one is to select the race, and the other one is to show the guesses. So, and the guesses are sorted. So Alex first, Carlos second, and Kimi, who's my favorite, third. So let's open the list of races here. And what you will see here is that, yes, we are still loading this from the F1 API, and we are also getting some additional details like the date of those races, and we are using that to apply some conditional formatting, some enhanced visual indication to our dropdown. So everything that is in the past, so every race that is in the past has a gray icon, a gray circle, while all the races that are in the future, except the next one, will have a green circle. So very good timing for this dev then, because if we waited a couple of weeks, probably we would have not been able to show this because the GP is almost over, and someone might be very sad about that, not to have like races to watch like very often, every week, kind of. And we are also adding some additional logic to make it very, very obvious which one is the next Grand Prix. So, for example, I might not know which one is the next one. So I'm adding a lot of indications here, like I'm adding the race car, the icon, the arrow, as well as the text. Of course, this is just like one example. The idea is that you can add some dynamic logic to help your users to do the right selection. And this is all done using a Forge custom field. So this is my selection. I'm not going to change this. And let's have a look at this other field. That is where I'm going to select my guess for this GP. So here we have our list of drivers. So exactly in the same way as we were loading it in the favorite driver custom field, we have our list that is loaded from our external source. But there is also something else to it. So we are only guessing the podium. So first, second, and third position, and nothing else. So which means that we can't actually add a fourth driver. So for example, if I try to add a fourth one, you see it doesn't work. Like in our implementation, we decided not to show any error message. We simply decided not to allow this selection. And here we have an indication saying that 3 drivers have been selected and the maximum is being reached. So if I remove one, it's now telling us that 2 out of 3 drivers have been selected. So I can just go ahead and add the third one. These are all helper for your users to make sure that they fill in the right data when populating their custom fields. That's it. So let's go back to our dashboards.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for that, Katerina. That was a great explanation. So now we're going to have a look at how that can be reflected in a gadget. So if we add top voted F1 drivers, we can see that this time we do have a configuration that we can set. So Katerina, if you're happy with the points assigned according to if they're voted first, second, or third, we can go ahead and hit submit.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. Let's do submit.
Awesome. Okay, so now what we're seeing is two different charts, and we can go through them one by one. So the first one is a very simple bar chart, just showing how many total votes each driver got, regardless of whether they were voted first, second, or third. So as you can see in the Qatar Grand Prix, we can see that Alexander, Carlos, and Kimi were all voted twice. We just don't know if they were voted first or second, and things like that. But if we look at the bottom chart, we can see that this one actually factors in the weightings that we assigned in that previous configuration screen, and we can find a little bit more information. So for the Guitar Grand Prix, we can see that Alexander actually got the most weighted vote of 150. And that shows us that maybe Alexander got voted more higher rankings. Maybe he got voted first in one of our colleagues' tickets. And so this chart gives us a little bit more information, and it goes to show how much extra information we can give. And another thing we'd like to show is that we can actually change around the configurations a little bit. So if we go back to that screen, if Katarina changes the weightings for one of the places to...
Yeah, maybe let's change the third place to 5.
Sure. And if we go ahead and submit, this can actually reconfigure our charts. And yeah, if we hover over something like the Qatar Grand Prix again, maybe,
Yep.
we can see that Carlos has gone down from 60 to 55, which means that one of his votes must have been third place, and now the weighting's a little bit less. So you can have a lot of flexibility over your gadgets. You can configure them and go back to configure them anytime. And I'd just like to talk a little bit about the value add of these visualization charts. So previously in a Jira dashboard gadget, you can add built-in visualizations, but these are not the built-in ones. These ones that you're seeing on screen are actually from the Forge UI kit. These are components that you can add in your code and build with. And the great thing about this is that they can actually consume the external API data that Katarina is implementing. And also you can see in that gadget, there's actually 2 visualizations. So you can add as many as you'd like in one gadget, which is not something that you could do before without these visualization components. So yeah, these components are available for you guys to use on the UI kit today. I'd like to hand
and
to Katarina to add a little bit more information.
yeah, thank you, Hannah. Yeah, I think like you did amazing showing us this chart as well as creating the Forge app for them to be displayed today, as well as actually building the functionality in Forge to allow these features to be present in Forge. So yeah, I think it's amazing, and I think we all know that there are some charts that you might want. Like we keep hearing it from customers. So and this functionality, this Forge functionality, really allows you to build the charts that you want, and they can be loading the data from some external source directly, or they can be loading some data from your Jira fields. So for example, here we are representing the custom fields, and we are also adding some additional logic like the weighting for the guesses and for the pole position that have been selected by our team members in this one. So super powerful. There is so much you can do with this, really. So, and we'll show you in a bit how easy it is to actually create something like this. Let's go back to our presentation now. Okay, so I think the demo went pretty okay. Nothing broke, so that's good. Thank you. Yay. Okay, now we want to show you another example, which might be a bit more work related than what we just presented. Like, I'm not sure how many of you are actually interested in running a fantasy F1 with their teams, but if you want, you can go and have a play. And the other example that we are going to show is available in the same repository that I think Ian shared earlier, and it's the very last folder. So let's just show what that is. So this is something we presented at team. So it's the ability from your Jira work item to control the test environments that are used for each ticket. So it enables your teams to define the test priority first of your Jira work item. And that's being integrated directly with an external system that lists all the available test environments. So the idea of this field is that this is a multi-level field. So you can start by selecting the priority, and maybe you are just happy with that. Maybe with most of the cases, selecting the priority level of your test environment is sufficient, but there is also the second layer, which enables you, after you've selected a priority, to actually see the details of all the environments that match that priority. So in that way, you can fine-tune the selection if needed by choosing exactly the best environment for those needs. And this hopefully might help you make better and more informed choices so that you can really run your test in the best environment for that task. And I think it might be good to have to take the question. I see that there is a question, Aya. It might be a good time. Hi, Lim, I think. So circle back to the custom field that load options from external APIs. Can it also filter options based on other custom field value? Yes, that's correct. So when you are loading your field, when you are calling the REST API for the external data, you have access to the entire context of your work item, so you can apply some filters based on that. Yes. Cool. Let's move forward if there aren't any other questions. And yes, Liam, thank you for your comment. Yes. Okay, now we'll switch from, the demo that we try to keep interesting by showing some F1 fun, and we'll actually show you how this app is built. So we'll get into the technical details, and hopefully we will not lose anyone. Hopefully we'll still try to keep it interesting, if not fun. So this is the custom field that we built. These are the more complex ones that we built. So we built our weekly race selector with some additional formatting, as well as our race gas, which can be displayed by showing us the positions that have been selected. And it also has some helper text to make sure that we always select the right amount of drivers. So in this way, it helps us populate the field with all the data that is needed. So from a Forge perspective, this is a Jira custom field type. This is a Jira custom field type module, and this module comes with a couple of options, and the one that we are going to check today are the view and the edit one. So the view is used to render the values of your custom field, while the edit is what's being used when you are adding values, selecting values to populate the custom field. So these are the two main components from a Forge manifest perspective. And I want to walk you through the flow of the view part of our custom field. So, and I have a screenshot there on the right. So that's what we mean with the view component. So you are in your issue view, and your issue view is loading the field. The field is being loaded via the view component that we just saw in the manifest, and that's the code for that is available in the front end next-trace view.jsx file. So what that's doing, it is then loading the product context, and the product context is then returned by the context of our app, and that also contains the field value. So the field value is available as context.extension.field value. That's been made available. That's been made available to the view component, and the view component is also where we are applying the additional logics to display the little race car. So the race car is not actually saved in the custom field. Only the text value is saved in the custom field. You might want to save something else, like maybe an ID, and then load the actual text dynamically from your view component. And once the view component is done, so it has retrieved the data from the context and it has added the required formatting, it's going to send the value back to the issue view, which is going to display the value then in your issue view. So let's move to the edit part. So the edit part, again, we have our screenshot up there. So that's when we are showing the list of options for the users to submit. So here we are editing our issue, and what's happening here is that our issue view, our issue panel is loading the field, and is loading it via the edit component of our Forge app, which is available in the front end /next race edit.jsx file. What that does, what our edit component does, is then to invoke the getNextRace function, and that function is available, is defined in the resolver. We only have one resolver in our app, and that's available in the resolvers /f1-information.js. What that does, what the resolver does, is where we are actually reaching out to the external APIs to load the list of races and their details. Their details is what we then use to show the different options. So show the different details like the gray circle, the yellow, the blue, the green circle, which reflects if the race was in the past or if it was in the future. So our resolver is reaching out to the REST APIs and returning the races to our edit component, which then displays them in the dropdown. At some point, the user is going to make a selection, and the edit component is then in charge of saving the value of that field by using the onSubmit view.submit value function. Let's now switch to the Jira dashboard gadgets.
Thank you so much, Katerina. That was a wonderful explanation of our custom fields. And now we'd like to walk you through the Jira dashboard gadgets, how to make them, and how you can also use them yourself with visualization components. So let's have a look. Okay, so the very first thing you'll need to do in order to use a dashboard gadget is you'll have to define your resource. And what that is basically the name of your file, and you'll have to make sure it matches that. So in our case, our front-end file was labeled gadget viz1, and the places this needs to be defined, you'll have to have a module called Jira dashboard gadget, along with, if you're using custom field, Jira custom field type, and you'll have to define it under resource, and then you'll have to define the path for that resource in the place at the bottom there where it says key and path, and that's just the path to that file. And finally, if this is an edit file, you'll also need to define it in the resource under the edit object as well. So 3 different places you'll need to define it in the manifest. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look at what exactly is being consumed inside the file. So if you have a look in the middle, this is the front end file for your app, and you'll see that there's a section that displays either the edit component or the view component. And what I mean by that is, if you remember in one of our gadgets, the edit screen was the configuration screen where you can set the points, while the view mode is the chart that you see once it's rendered with all the configurations. So in order to define the edit mode, you can create an edit component, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, and you can return a form with all of the different components that you would like to be displayed. So in this case, we displayed 3 different text fields, and you can actually use the UI kit that Forge offers to build this so that it looks nice and it has this Atlassian feel if that's what you'd like. And over on the right-hand side, this is also created by returning the components you'd like. And in our case, you can see that it returns the horizontal stack bar chart component, which is again also available in the UI kit as well. So this is how the edit and view mode are displayed. Let's have a closer look at how exactly they interact with each other. So once again, if we start on the left-hand side, we can see that this is a form that triggers the on submit function. It will send the configured gadget object. And that's just an object containing all of the different values that we've configured in that screen. So you can see in the middle there, we've got the first place, second place, and third place points and what we've configured for each one. And that can actually be consumed on the view mode side by accessing the context.extension.gadget configuration object. Within that object, you can unpack all of these values and use it in however way you wish in your front-end view mode. And in our case, we chose to use that to calculate the weightings and display that on the visualization chart accordingly. So that's how the edit mode can communicate with the view mode. And if we go to the next slide, we'd also like to show you a little bit more about what data exactly the visualization components are consuming. The 2 that you guys got to see were the pie chart and the horizontal stack bar chart. You also got to see a regular bar chart as well. And the data type for each of these charts is very straightforward. They take an object with an x-axis value, a value to populate the y-axis, and also the drivers in case you wanted to define categories. And you can see this is the same for the pie chart as well. So if you wanted to see more about how to structure your data in a way that the chart can consume and understand, you can go to developer.atlassian.com, which is in that QR code earlier that Katarina showed, and it will specify all the different charts that we have and the data types that they take. And you can just plug it in straight away and it will be able to consume and render it. And if we go to the next slide, we can actually see that there is a lot of different visualization components available in our UI kit, not just the ones that you've seen. So there is an infinite possibility of different data that you can display on these charts, and we'd really love to see what you make from these. So do give
Yeah.
me a go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think, there are like plenty of charts. And today we've shown how to use them in a Jira dashboard gadget. But the reality is that you can have them wherever you think it might be good for you. So you might have them in some other kind of dashboards, or maybe you might have them within your Jira work item, or maybe on a project page. So wherever you can think like it would make sense for you to have them, you can take these charts and display them there.
Okay, so now we've talked about the Jira dashboard gadget, how to set one up and use the different edit and view modes. Let's talk a little bit more about how we can use a visualization component. So to use one is very, very easy. all you need to do is import the chart that you'd like from the Forge React library, as you can see in that screenshot at the top. And then you'll need to set up a hook for the data that you'll be passing into the chart. This can be in a static form if you wish, or it can be pulled from an external API. But in our case, we decided to set up a hook for it called data. And then finally, at the bottom, you'll just have to plug that data into the chart, which is one of the props that it takes. And if it is in the right configuration that the chart can understand, it will just immediately render. So it's very easy to use. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so our chart actually also made use of backend API calls. So let's have a look at how that happened. If we start in the front end file at the top, we can see that it invoked a backend call called favorite drivers API call. And what that did was make this call to the resolver to query all the different custom fields that we had in our Jira instance. And it took all the fields to do with F1 drivers, and then it returned that information to us in this object that you can see on the left-hand side back to the front end. So this is an example of how the front end can make these calls to the Jira backend and get all the information from the custom fields.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide. Now that the front end has all of this information from the custom fields, we need to manipulate it in such a way that the chart can understand. So as you can see, we've set up a function in the front end called populate chart data, where we take the results from the backend call and we manipulate it around in such a way that it fits the criteria for the visualization component to consume. And then all we needed to do was plug it straight in, and it was able to display as a lovely pie chart that you saw in our demo. So if you needed any information, again, all of this is detailed in our developer.atlassian.com documentation, but super easy to use, and it's now available for you guys in the UI kit.
Yeah. So thank you, Hannah, and thank you everyone for listening so far. So I hope we achieved our goal and we've been able to show you and hopefully inspire you to use the external data in Jira for your custom fields, as well as maybe take advantage of some of the additional formatting options and helper options that are available when defining a custom field using Forge, as well as Han showed us, all the beautiful and powerful visualizations that you can take advantage of. And that's the end of our presentation. So here we have our link to the resources again. So if you want to check out the repo and all the modules and features of Forge that we've been using in our presentation, you can go to go.atlassian.com/cf-ui-viz. And that's us on LinkedIn as well, if you want to connect. Like I post a lot about, about Forge. So, if you're interested in Forge, if you are learning Forge, maybe you want to have a look at my profile and see what I talk about. And here we have Ian again, back with us. Hi, Ian. Oh, you're muted.
Okay.
Oh, no. I'm sure you were saying something like super, super important. Or maybe you were saying like, oh, like, I don't like this. I can just make it
Oh,
up,
yeah.
right?
I forgot to unmute it. Yeah, that was really, really good. So not only were you talking about Forge, you were also talking about F1. So I had to change my hat. That was really good.
Okay.
So if you
Yes.
have questions, please put them in the chat. I'll check them now if we have any questions.
Yeah.
None so far.
You mean
but
F1 questions?
both. F1 almost done. 2 races, pretty tight for World Championship,
Oh,
but don't get me
yeah.
started. But any
And no
Forge-related
spoilers,
question?
right? Yeah. Like I've been watching the race on Sunday, so no spoilers.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so Forge questions. For F1 questions, you can just message Ian directly.
Okay, going to the chat. I don't think we have any more questions,
Yeah.
Katerina and
Uh,
Han. I guess one question for me, and it's
yep.
for you, Han. I know there's been a lot of visualization changes and new features in the last
Hmm.
half of the year. Are there any exciting up and coming visualization related features that you can share with us?
Okay. Thank you for that question, Ian. Visualizations is actually in GA right now, so general release. So it's reached its full feature capacity. And yes,
That's
there's a
sweet.
lot of, exciting new changes to it. We've been able to add more functionality to it. They'll support, what's it called? Instead of just static data, they can also support functions as well, which is a very exciting new change. And also, they can support different patterns as well visually instead of just colors. But yeah, if you head over to the what's it called developer.atlassian.com, they'll also be specified there as well, along with some examples. But that was a really good question. Visualizations has been through EAP to preview and now finally in GA.
Yeah, and I think last time you were showing the full pages.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
another exciting one that's coming up. Last time I talked about the Confluence full page module being a new one. We've actually just released the Jira full page module as well. So that's coming up quite soon. You guys can now use both.
Hmm.
And what it is it's a module that expands to the entire screen. So you have the real estate, of the entire screen. You can use your custom UI or your UI kit. And in that way, you have a lot of freedom to create sites with your own branding on it, if you like, while still having the benefits of the Confluence APIs or the Jira backend, things like that.
That's a really good segue, Katerina. So
Yep.
we talked about that one in the previous DevDen session. So if you missed that out, I'll paste the link in the chat. Feel free to rewatch the recording of that session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we have any more questions on the
Doesn't look
chat
like.
coming in. Katerina, I think that's it for us today.
Yeah.
Take us home, Katerina.
Oh, okay. So, yes, thank you everyone for joining. So, and please, if you found this helpful or if you're interested in any Forge topics, we host this Dev Dance regularly. So, the next one is going to be with me again next week. So, and we will be showing how to create a Forge macro in Confluence, as well as to use a Rovo agent, a Rovo Forge agent in Confluence again to enhance and get more information from some external sources again. So we will be showing again how to connect to some external sources and how we can leverage that in a Rovo agent in Confluence as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think with this, I'm going to say goodbye to my colleagues here, Han and Ian, as well as to all the participants. And I hope to see you soon, somewhere here
Yep.
or somewhere around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And good luck, Katarina, after your next DevDen.
Oh, thank you. You will not be here. I'm going to miss you.
And thank you
Bye,
for
everyone.
hosting.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.